Begin this morning on Capitol Hill and what's shaping up to be a busy day, really likely a busy week for Congress.
Yeah, high on their agenda, new efforts this morning to avoid a potential rail workers strike that could disrupt the holidays and hurt efforts to bring down inflation. President Biden has called on lawmakers to approve a labor deal to avert what he calls a, quote, potentially crippling rail shutdown. A strike could happen as early as December 9th. We start off this morning with NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli. Mike, good morning to you. So here's the backdrop. Workers at two of the nation's biggest rail unions are split over a tentative contract that was agreed to earlier this year. Explain to us how we got here and just how big of a deal this is as we head into the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. Congress already has a lot on their to-do list for this lame duck session. The president last night adding an emergency item to the top of that list. Now, a lot of you may remember that in September, we saw the president in the Rose Garden at the White House with representatives from unions and from management hailing a last-minute deal that at the time averted this rail strike. Now, what has happened since then? Well, there are 12 unions that represent the 100,000 workers across the rail industry, and each of those 12 unions had to vote to ratify this deal. 8 of those unions did, including one of the largest, but the largest and 3 others all voted this down, and rather narrowly. The margins were pretty close. And so there was now a cooling off period to allow workers and management to try to get back together on a new deal, but the time is running out. And so this is why the president is calling on Congress to step in. And what we saw here is that this is the potential economic harm to the country is serious. 30% of our cargo is transported over freight rail. So a month-long strike, according to some estimates, would have been a $160 billion hit to our economy. It also would have affected some passenger rail service across the country. And so the president's stepping in here and asking Congress to do the same.
Yeah, so, Mike, why is the president asking Congress to step in now instead of several months ago? I mean, what options are actually on the table for lawmakers to try and get a deal to go through?
Yeah, this really is the sort of last-ditch measure that the president can ask for. And well, Congress really has 2 options. They could, one, sort of extend this cooling-off period, give labor and management more time to get to a deal. But he's really asking them to do the second option, which is to impose that tentative agreement that was reached 2 months ago onto the remaining 4 unions. The president in a statement saying, listen, as a proud pro-labor president, I'm reluctant to override the ratification procedures. But in this case, the economic impact of a shutdown would hurt millions of working people and families. I believe Congress must use its powers to adopt this deal. And really, there was some dissatisfaction among some of those labor unions that did ratify this deal. They saw that there were some major concessions made by freight carriers, including a 24% pay increase. There were some other conditions that they were hoping to get in terms of paid sick leave that were still on the table. But all in all, most of the unions felt that this was a good deal. And so the president is siding with the majority of those unions.
Mike, while we have you, the president's heading to Bay City, Michigan today to visit a new semiconductor manufacturing plant. So why is he going there? What can we expect from the visit?
Yeah, this is an interesting chip, Joe. This is the first real domestic policy-oriented travel from the president since he was out on the campaign trail before the midterms. And I think it really speaks to what are some of the near-term and long-term priorities for this White House. The president is going to be visiting SK Siltron CESS. It's a semiconductor manufacturer. Its products are mainly part of the sort of semiconductor parts in the auto industry. And we know how important the auto industry is for Michigan. The president's going to be touting that Chips and Science Act, which has led this company to announce a $300 million expansion. Now, we also note that Michigan is, as we turn from decision 2022 to decision 2024, one of those battleground states. The president won it by just under 3% of the vote. And so he's making an early investment in that battleground map for 2024.
All right. Mike Memoli. Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And now to Capitol Hill, where lawmakers already have a long to-do list as they return from the Thanksgiving holiday. And while it's a lame duck session, Democrats are trying to get a lot done before Republicans take over the House in January. The party's trying to keep the government funded past December 16th to prevent a shutdown, establish Pentagon funding priorities, pass a bill to prevent stolen elections, wrap up the January 6th committee report, and codify federal protections for same-sex marriage. For more, we're joined by NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Ryan Nobles. Ryan, good to have you with us. Obviously, a lot to get to this morning. Let's start with the Republicans. So pushback is growing. It's actually now including from traditional allies of former President Trump, who's launched this comeback bid for the White House in 2024. But this comes on the heels of this dinner a lot of people might have heard about now, this notorious white supremacist Nick Fuentes and the rapper Ye, who's come under fire for anti-Semitic remarks, were with him before Thanksgiving at Mar-a-Lago. What are we hearing from members of Trump's own party now?
Well, Savannah, we spent a lot of yesterday canvassing all these Senate Republicans, many of whom have been longtime supporters of the former President Donald Trump, to get their take on his decision to have this controversial dinner. And by and large, Republicans were very unhappy that the president made this decision. And here's just a small sampling of about what some of them had to say about the president dining with a white supremacist.
I wouldn't want to have dinner with either one of those guys, or I wouldn't meet with either one of those guys. You make the most of that you want to.
He surely would disavow any of that stuff. Most would. How he took a meeting, I don't know.
There's no room in the Republican Party for white supremacists, anti-Semitism, so it's wrong.
I think it's ridiculous that he had that meeting. Just, it's ridiculous. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Just crazy.
And most of those Republicans supported Donald Trump's last bid for president. One who didn't was, of course, Mitt Romney, the senator from Utah. And he told us yesterday that he feels as though the party has to find a way to get past Donald Trump. He described him as a gargoyle hanging over top the party. And if they don't move on from him, they're going to continue to have to deal with stuff like this, Savannah.
Wow, what a word there. All right, let's move on to the effort to codify same-sex marriage. A procedural motion to move forward with the Respect for Marriage Act passed in the Senate. That was late last night, with this final vote set for later today. Are there any hurdles still left in the way of this passing, or do you think it'll be smooth sailing?
We thought maybe yesterday there might be a hurdle or two. There were a couple of Republicans that were starting to express some concerns about the religious freedom aspects of this bill. It looks as though they've ironed out all those details. There will be a couple of votes on amendments today that could be added to this bill, but eventually it will pass at some point later today. It will then, of course, have to go back to the House before the president signs it into law. But there is optimism that this deal will get done.
And Ryan, before I let you go, I do want to ask you about these leadership elections. So House Democrats are set to hold these, and it's, of course, going to mark a major shift after Speaker Nancy Pelosi, also longtime leader Steny Hoyer, and Jim Clyburn announced plans to step back. What should we expect to see from these elections?
Well, there won't be a lot of drama, Savannah, unlike what we're seeing on the Republican side. Democrats have really settled behind three new leaders: Hakeem Jeffries of New York, Catherine Clark of Massachusetts, and Peter Aguilar of South Carolina. And they're even going to keep Jim Clyburn of South Carolina, who was part of that triumphant of three octogenarian Democratic leaders in their leadership elections. This is expected to be smooth sailing for these three as they kind of take on the mantle of the new generation of Democratic leaders. This is, of course, a closed-door deliberation and vote. It's also private. But at this point, they don't have any other competitors. So it's expected to be a smooth sailing for Democrats. Of course, the challenge will be in the new year once Republicans take the majority. Those tight margins mean that both parties need to keep all of their members in line if they have any hope of advancing their agenda in the coming Congress.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much, covering a lot for us today.
In Arizona this morning, a growing battle over that state's efforts to certify the results of the midterm election. Secretary of State and Governor-elect Katie Hobbs is now suing a Republican-controlled county for refusing to certify its election results. Now, yesterday was the deadline for Arizona's 15 counties to report results from the November 8th election to the Secretary of State's office. But Cochise County was the only one that failed to certify its results. In her complaint, Hobbs said the county's decision to let the deadline for certification pass, quote, disenfranchises tens of thousands of voters.
And now to China, where authorities have started investigations into those protests over the country's strict zero COVID measures that rocked several cities over the weekend. NBC News foreign correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer has the latest.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. China's health officials are promising better COVID rules, and they're also giving the first official acknowledgement of the protests, albeit it was a vague one. At the same time, authorities are cracking down here. All of the streets that had swelled with protests over the weekend now are mostly barricaded and under guard. Police are fanning out and clamping down in several cities, even checking cell phones, looking for photos or messaging apps that could connect people to to the demonstrations. There's a lot of talk about it today on social media, people saying they've had to delete photos as well as chat histories in order to avoid being questioned. But what extraordinary scenes through the weekend, people calling for freedom from the COVID controls that have brought cities here to a standstill. Health officials today said a low vaccination rate still poses a major problem, but it's really the lockdowns and the quarantines that have frustrated people most here, and the anger had been building for a while. The world has been watching in fascination because protests here are rare, but there's also some concern that the unrest and perpetual lockdowns could hit the global economy. But the White House today weighing in with a statement saying, we've long said everyone has the right to peacefully protest, adding, this includes the PRC, the People's Republic of China. Joe, Savannah?
All right, Janice, thank you so much.
To the World Cup now and Team USA's all-or-nothing showdown match against Iran. Both sides are set to lock horns later this afternoon with a place in the next round on the line. But it's the events off the field that are dominating headlines. The USA Soccer Federation angered Iran by briefly posting a picture on social media of Iran's flag without the Islamic Republic emblem and what they say was a show of support for women protesting there. The U.S. soccer coach apologized for the now-deleted post during a politically charged news conference where both sides said they were focusing on soccer.
We know exactly what Iran's going to bring. Well-coached team, very committed team, and we don't want to make the same mistakes of the past. We want to learn from that and be able to put in a good performance.
Let's enjoy that party. Let's enjoy the show. Let's be sure that when we finish the game, that the Iranian fans, they are proud of us. The U.S. fans, they are proud of us. And football, special football, is proud of us. And let's make tomorrow one more day that football win credibility, win reputation.
Telemundo sports anchor Carlos Eustace is in Doha for us this morning. We're also joined by Sam Stejskal. He is a senior writer for The Athletic. Thank you both for joining us ahead of this big matchup. Carlos, I want to start with you. I mean, politics aside, help us understand what's at stake when the U.S. takes on Iran today. What do both sides need to do here?
How are you, Joe? Yeah, today the U.S. has the opportunity to go to the second round, and it's really important for them since they didn't make it to the FIFA World Cup in 2018, being back in the tournament after 8 years. And with this really young generation of players that are supposed to be among the best in the world, they have to prove it. And in order to prove it, they have to play against the best. And to play against the best, you have to make it to the further rounds. So the U.S. has to win. That's the only result that actually will make them be on the round of 16.
Not even a tie will do it in this situation. So, Sam, I want to bring you in here. I mean, it really was an extraordinary press conference yesterday. The U.S. coach and Captain Tyler Adams were grilled on everything from politics to Black Lives Matter, even how to pronounce Iran correctly. In your mind, is today's game more than just a soccer match?
Certainly. With everything going on in Iran, with the protests there, the crackdown that the government has been issuing against the protesters there, it takes on added significance. We saw that in the press conference yesterday, which was pretty remarkable, honestly. It's one of the more memorable press conferences that I've ever been a part of, certainly. Tyler Adams, the captain, was asked pointedly how he could feel comfortable representing the United States as a black man when the country has a history of racism and discrimination against black people. Adams, who it should be mentioned is only 23 and was just made the semi-permanent captain a little more than a week ago, gave a pretty remarkable, composed answer. So that was kind of a highlight or a standout moment of the press conference. And yeah, I think this game will carry a lot of significance for the Iranian people, for the American people, and for the Iranian regime as well, albeit in different ways for all of those groups.
Sam, let's go back in time. The last time these two sides met, it was a World Cup back in 1998. That's their last World Cup matchup. Iran won that one 2-1. That game also had a politically charged buildup. It'll probably be remembered for a moment when the Iranian team presented the U.S. team with flowers before the match. So how important is it going to be for the coaches to try and keep their players focused on the game and try and drown out everything else that's going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, obviously, I think it'll be super important for the result for both coaches to be able to do that. I think for the American team, I don't think that'll be too big of an issue. They had an issue, as you mentioned, Joe, over social media with the flag and the deletion of the Islamic Republic emblem. I don't think that'll touch the team too much. And I don't think that this game, although it is a charged up atmosphere, has anywhere near the same environment around it as the 1998 match, which was called the mother of all games when it was being played at the time. So politically, I don't think it's quite as charged as it was in 98. And I think come game time, at least for the American team, the focus will be firmly on the field. For the Iranian team, it's a little bit of a different question. They've reportedly been threatened by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard that their families will be subject to violence and potentially torture if they don't sing the national anthem or if they misbehave in any way politically during this match.
Important to keep all that in mind. Carlos, we're entering the final round of group matches. It's not just the U.S. and Iran playing. What else should we be keeping an eye on when it comes to the World Cup today?
Well, on Group A, it has to be decided who's going to be first and second, which will also determine who's going to be the rivals on the next round. So the Netherlands and Ecuador seem to be the favorites, and we'll see which one of them ends up being top of that group. And then on the USA side, besides the result of the USA and Iran, that will put them on that second place in case the U.S. can make it. You also want to see what England does. England is called to be one of the favorites of this tournament that could probably win the whole thing and bring it home, as they say. And they still need to show what they showed on the first game, beating Iran 6-2. So we'll see what happens with that, too.
All right. Carlos, Sam, thank you both for joining us ahead of the big one later on today. We appreciate it. Turning now to your morning news now weather.
Yeah, that means it's time for Michelle Grossman to join us with the forecast. Hey, Michelle.
Hey there, guys. Great to see you. And we have a busy day weather-wise on tap. We're watching a cold front that's moving across the country. On the backside, really cold air. We're going to see snow up to a foot in some spots. And then ahead of this, we're looking at really warm, humid air. That's going to spark the chance for severe weather later on today. Let's start with the cold side, though. We're looking at snow falling. Where you see the blue, that is the snow. So portions of the Rockies, the Intermountain West, the Pacific Northwest, into the Central Plains, the Upper Midwest, and also the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes is where we could see up to a foot of snow. So this is a setup, an area of low pressure moving off to the north and east. We have frigid air funneling down from Canada. It's meeting really humid air, warm air from the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to aid some violent storms later on this afternoon into the evening and overnight hours. For the lower Mississippi Valley and then edges of the western Ohio Valley, could see some strong storms as well. Then as we go throughout tomorrow, we're going to see this cold front moving off to the east. That's going to bring strong winds, also heavy rain to portions of the east. We're not expecting severe weather, but we could see a strong thunderstorm or two. And then back behind this, we're going to see whipping winds and also some snow near the Great Lakes once again. The cold side, winter alert stretching from the Pacific Northwest into the Intermountain West, the Rockies, the Central Plains, the Midwest, into the Great Lakes. 19 million people are impacted by either a winter weather advisory, a winter storm watch, or a winter storm warning. And here is the highest amount. We're going to see lake effect impact, so that's going to enhance the snowfall totals. That's why you're seeing the heaviest rain right along the Great Lakes, 9 inches, 12 inches. The pinks and purples are the highest amounts. And then this is what we're particularly concerned about. We're looking at a severe weather event. We could see strong tornadoes, long tracking tornadoes, could see a severe weather outbreak in terms of a tornado outbreak. Where you see this red, also the orange, this is the likeliest spot for any strong storms. Again, winds could be gusting up to 75 miles per hour, so that could cause damage on its own. We could see some really big hail up to softball size, baseball size, and also some damaging winds. But the threat does extend up into portions of the Tennessee Valley and also the Ohio Valley. So for the threat of strong storms could happen overnight. That's when it becomes particularly dangerous. Nighttime tornadoes. If you don't have a plan, you want to get your plan in place and really put that in place before you start your day. And then we'll see risk for stronger storms in the southeast as we go throughout tomorrow. Back to you guys.
All right. Busy week. Michelle, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.